Hi Conspiracy, this is Mrs. Raven, and for today's video I'm going to be talking about a nasty little habit. So we all have our own ways to cope with stress. Some people have good habits like exercising and picking up on crafty little projects that they can do around the house. Other people have bad habits like biting their fingernails or smoking. People like me have nasty little habits that we can't technically control. So today what I want to talk about is trichotillomania and my journey through it. So let's have this chat. Hi Conspiracy, welcome to this week's video where I'm talking about trichotillomania. Trichotillomania is a compulsive stress disorder where people pull out their hair. Wherever hair grows on your body, it's a target area. So people pull from their eyebrows, some people pull from their eyelashes, yes, some people even pull from their... But for me, my picking spot is my head, which is the most common spot for tricks to pull. So for me, my top of my head right up here, you can tell, is where I've been picking for years. All the way up to here. Up here is not as thin as the rest of it, but it goes from the front of my head all the way around. Yay. It's been growing back and it's been, in and out being thickened and everything like that, so it is what it is. But I wanted to talk to you guys about my journey through trichotillomania when I started and how I'm doing with it now. So here we go. I started picking when I was 15 years old. I was a sophomore in high school. As you guys know, high school is a terrible time for a teenager. You're dealing with different kids at school, the cliques, your grades, your extracurricular activities, if you're a part of them or not, depression, all these different things as a teenager when you're in high school. So for me in high school, I was always a very busy person. I was always in band and choir, marching band and jazz band and choir. I was in honors classes, the first person in my family to be in honors classes, woot woot. And I just had a lot in my plate when I was in high school. So one day in my English class, I was taking a test. I am a terrible test taker, hence the anxiety. I was sitting behind a friend of mine who I'm still very good friends with, and I'm watching her twist around her hair at the top of her head, and she's, going like this and pulling it out, and I say to myself, I wonder what that feels like. So I started doing it myself. Wrong way to go. Wrong way to go. I also remember when I was in high school, I used to do musicals during the summer, so I would keep myself busy and everything like that. I was a dance captain and everything for these musicals. And one year we did Annie, and I was a maid in this musical. And every day during the summer, I would French braid my hair in pigtails so that, it was out of my face so I could do what I needed to do, not focus on my hair. But during the summer, when I was doing these braids, I would sit there and pick out all the shorter hairs because, of course, I'm a perfectionist. It comes along with the territory. So I would pick out all these hairs that would be sticking out instead of just leaving them alone. After that whole summer, my part started getting a little bit wider and wider, which my mom says something to me, and I was like, oh, I just must be braiding my hair too much or too tight. I should stop doing that. So whatever. That's a lie, but okay. So going from there, I kept pulling and pulling and pulling, especially during tests. I'm a terrible test taker, like I said, and so the stress of taking a test was just not for me. So I would sit there and pick during my tests. And for me, I don't realize when I'm doing it. I realize that I've done it afterwards, after I've done the damage. So why don't you just stop yourself while you're taking your tests? It doesn't work that way. It's involuntary. It's not something I control. It's kind of like a trance type thing in order for me to keep focused. And that's what happens. I go through a whole test, or I go 2 hours sitting on the couch watching a movie or a TV, and I have a huge ball of hair next to me. That's what happens. You guys can hear the kids jumping on the bed, can't you? So after high school, I get through high school and everything like that, and I started picking a lot more because when you go into college, it's a whole shift. It's a whole life-changing experience, and of course, life-changing experiences don't go well with people who have stress and anxiety and have trichotillomania. I realized I was picking more on the top of my head and I was getting balder. So I started parting my hair to the side instead of right in the middle so I could hide my bald spots. As college went on and becoming an adult went on, I started picking more and more. So I had to start buying hair extensions and started dyeing my hair darker so that I could hide the bald spots a little bit better. So I'm buying hair extensions, I'm parting my hair to the side, and you know, I have to basically, every time I take a shower, or every single day I'm taking a shower, which is not a bad thing, but I had to take a shower so I could do my hair every day, just to do my hair. I would sit and my hair would be soaking wet, I'd be spraying it with hairspray, I would go through so much hairspray in a month. I would take a nice fine-tooth comb and comb down my hair with hairspray and then blow drying it down so that it was like stuck down in order for just my extensions to latch onto something, because that's how bald I was. And I would part my hair to the side and hide it. A lot of people didn't realize I had a problem at all because of how well I hid my bald spot. I didn't come out to my parents about it until after I watched a video of this woman named Mandy Line. This is Mandy Line. Mandy Line is a Hollywood stylist. She's most well known for being the stylist for the show Pretty Little Liars that used to be on ABC or Freeform. She did a 2020 video, an episode of 2020 where they talked about Trichotillomania. And then she did a couple of other shows where it talked about her trichotillomania and exposed her therapies through it. And I watched these videos of her and I became so inspired because this is somebody who works in Hollywood. Hollywood is the most judgmental place on earth. And she has trichotillomania, which is she's pulling out her hair from her head and she has to be beautiful, the most beautiful person in the world, because it's Hollywood. How does someone deal with that? So she really inspired me to come out about it and to really be honest about what's going on with me, because by that point, not that it was the worst that it's ever been, but it was time for me to come to my parents and be able to talk to them about what was going on with me, because I was not as perfect as I seemed. I told my mom about it, and she was more open and more understanding about it and more empathetic because she's my mom. I'm her only daughter, and most moms really care and want to make sure that their children are okay. My dad, on the other hand, wasn't really as understanding. Not that he didn't care, he absolutely did, but he didn't understand the concept. If you're pulling your hair out, why don't you just stop? He would tell me. He would just say, just stop. And I would be like, pot calling kettle black, Mr. Cigarette Smoker, for like 40 years. Telling somebody with trichotillomania to just stop pulling, you can do it, just stop, is like telling a cigarette smoker who's been smoking for most of their life to just quit, or an alcoholic to just quit. It doesn't work like that. It's impulsive, it's involuntary. We don't realize that we're doing it when we're doing it, guys. It just happens. It's a coping mechanism. So it was a little bit harder to come to my dad when I was feeling all the feelings I was having, so I'd always go to my mom. So it got worse for me after my dad passed away. I'm gonna try not to cry because this subject always makes me cry. But my dad got sick with, well, he was diagnosed with kidney cancer in June of 2013. He passed away in August of 2013. He survived 2 months. It was stage 4 kidney cancer. They caught it really, really late. There was nothing they could do. No matter, even they still did the surgery to remove the infected kidney, but by that time it was already in his bloodstream. He got sick. He passed away. It got significantly worse for me because anybody who has lost a parent or a family member that you're really, really close to, it sucks. You miss that person. You want that person to be there. But on top of that, I had just gotten engaged to Raven the Christmas before he passed away. And I had to get married to him without my father 9 months later. And it was the most, not that our wedding was depressing, everyone had a good time, but my dad wasn't there. And everyone ended up coming to our wedding because they felt bad that my dad wasn't there. So dealing with my dad not being around, having to plan a wedding without his support, and knowing that he wouldn't be there to walk me down the aisle, I was finishing up my degree. I was student teaching the fall after he passed away to get my teaching degree. I had to deal with all the adult stuff, and it wasn't cool, it wasn't good, and I just went on and picked and picked and picked. This is a couple of the Facebook posts that I posted during that time of my hair. I was balding. It wasn't cute, it wasn't pretty. So I hid my bald spots as best as I could for our wedding. The girl who did my hair did a fantastic job. But 2 months after our wedding, I decided to cut all 16 inches of my hair off to donate my hair for children who needed wigs for cancer. So that's how worse it got. That was 17 years, not 17, wow. It was 7 years ago, and I've had short hair ever since. How am I doing with Trichotillomania now? I'm dealing. You know, I don't go through bouts of wanting to pick all the time at this point. It's pretty much whenever I cut my hair really short, I say, okay, here's my clean slate, here I go. It's once it gets long enough for my fingers to be able to run through it and feel the different types of hair and everything like that is when I start to feel the urges to pick. But I'm dealing. It's not every day that I deal with the feelings of wanting to pick. It's just, it is what it is. I have Raven sitting next to me on the couch. When he sees me starting to touch my hair, he automatically says stop, and I stop. It's the times when he's not around where I'm, like when I'm driving home from work or something like that, when it's really bad, but I haven't gotten to that point yet. I am going through therapy. I am speaking with somebody about my problem and different coping mechanisms. Another coping mechanism that I've picked up, being a mom and owning my own home, I am constantly up and cleaning. I really rarely ever sit down when I'm home. Ask Raven. If I am sitting down, it's because I'm exhausted and I don't want to do anything, and that's bad. But I'm always cleaning because that's a coping mechanism for me, because I feel like I have control over something. I'm doing okay, not doing so bad, but there's some things that I can tell you that will help other people that you may know who have trichotillomania. The one main thing that helps me is having somebody who is who isn't judgmental and doesn't want to give me any unsolicited advice. Just someone for me to go and vent to about different things that's stressing me out or anything like that. That's all that I need. A friend, a family member, somebody that I can just sit there and talk at, and they won't try to give me advice on how to make things better or anything like that. That helps me so much, because not that you're validating my feelings, but I'm just speaking and I'm able to get all these emotions and feelings out. And I know that if you guys could be that somebody for someone, that will help immensely. Immensely, because then all those feelings come out and that urge subsides. The other thing I want to say is that if you're going to be someone and let them come and talk to you and everything like that, don't just let them speak at you and talk to you and everything like that, then get up and go. Because I find that a lot of the time when you get being someone who has trich, you get those feelings off your chest and everything like that, and the feelings of wanting to pick subside, but you still have that involuntary want to do so. So when you're done letting that person talk with you and you don't give your advice and you're non-judgmental, take them and go do something with them. Whether it be, right now it's fall, go apple picking, go pumpkin picking, go have a drink or something like that if you can during these pandemic times. It's really important to keep them busy for a little bit after they release all those feelings and energies out, because that involuntary need is still there and you want to keep them occupied while that need is still there. I would say probably like an hour or two until like they really feel more calm and more secure about how they're feeling, and let them go home after that. The website right here is to TLC. It's brfb.org. Their URL is circled at the top of the picture. If you go to this website, you're going to be able to find so many different things on how to help people with trichotillomania or any other picking disorders. You can donate money to them so that they can do more events and more awareness. There's different articles on there that you can read about trichotillomania to really understand things more. You can even send this site to somebody that you know that has trichotillomania or any other picking disorder to really help them reach out to somebody that they can talk to for your needs, whether it be a therapist or anything like that. Over here is Mandy Lyon's Instagram. Please check her out. She's awesome. She talks about trichotillomania openly, but she also talks about and does photos of her work. She's great. She's awesome. And if you could just hit that subscribe button to subscribe to Flying with the Ravens, that's subscribing to me and Raven, as well as taking a look at our handles for Twitter and Instagram. Both his and I are on there. Go ahead and follow us, and I will talk to y'all later. Peace out.